And a very big hello. Thank you very much for joining us as round 5 of the Aussie Racing League continues at Suzuka in Japan, a place that has seen 13 Formula One World Champions crowned and was the first Asian country to host a round of the Formula One World Championship. Let's take a look at this unique layout, a figure 8, 18 turns, 5.8 kilometres in length, one massive DRS zone and a very exciting turn 1. Speaking of excitement, let's head off to our commentary team.
All right, welcome ladies and gentlemen to Thursday night, and you know what Thursday night means. That means it's time for the Aussie Racing League Elite Edition. So I'm your host, Man of Tin, and in the box with me tonight we have Snooperloot. Welcome along, mate.
Hey, Tins, mate. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to everybody. Thursday night should be a bit of fun here at Suzuka.
Yeah, it should be good. Real quick shout out to Skipper. How you doing, mate? Good to see you again.
Shout out to the Skip. He's got to be the number one commentary in the chat. So good on you, Skip. We love having you in the chat.
Yep, no, that's pretty good. Well, we'll quickly go over this before we get stuck in this sprint race. We're not going to have much time between sprint race and obviously the main event, so we'll try and get as much covered as we can in the pre-show. Pretty much, what can we say? We've got the team standings, we've got the driver standings. There's one guy and one team that are head above the rest at the moment, and that's Zakov in the Alfa Romeo. He is literally carrying his own team. There's no one else driving in the Alfa Romeo that scored any points, and there's no one else going in it. So he is he's a one-man show, but he's a very, very good one-man show. In saying that, we have Aston Martin, Alpine, Ferrari, Williams, and AlphaTauri that are battling it out for that third spot. So Alpine have a little bit more of a gap there. Kebab and Crush doing quite well up the top. I am a little bit prejudiced because I am in that Alpine team, but that next four, including, well, Aston Martin is, yeah, they're 81 as well. So that's Tazza and Dutch, who have actually had a really good season. Tazza, we know he's a really good driver, but Dutch has come out of the woodwork as well in terms of getting back on his consistency. So yeah, there's in the team standings, we've got a lot to talk about.
There is a fair bit going on, and shout out to the Alpine boys. I'm wearing my Alpine shirt today.
Photos didn't happen.
I actually only bought it because I thought Oscar Piastri would be wearing it next year, but now I'm a Pierre Gasly Alpine fan. So
Pierre Gasly.
Pierre Gasly. No, there's a lot going on in this division, and it's still pretty tight at the top between Gez and Zakov. So really looking forward to this race.
Yeah, that's it.
Sorry, mate. You go.
And we're saying that we've got obviously the close standings in that in the team standings. Then you go through the drivers that you just talked about. So you've got Gez, who's come along quite second there. Apex has made quite some improvements. So we know Apex from last year, who's been in this division before, but he's come out and put some back-to-back podiums together, which has been really, really impressive from the young lad. Vlad didn't race last week, so he's pushed down a little bit. So you've also got Tazza and Dutch and whatnot. There's this league or this division is so tightly knit together. It's really who can be more consistent for the last three races with Japan, the US, and then what do we finish on?
We finish in Mexico, a little
love Mexico.
North American farewell tour for season 5. So, and they're Circuit of Americas and Mexico. They are 2 spicy tracks that there's a lot of high-speed racing going on there. So I think we're in for an absolute banger end to the season here.
Yeah, no, I'm really keen, really looking forward to it. Just looking at the comments here, we do have we got Lemon Windows is trying to bring the Lemon Gang back. Skipper, well done. Get on the Alpine boys. We are a great team. What is that?
HK is not happy that I'm in the Alpine shirt. He's not happy about that. I might have to go and put my Alfa Romeo shirt on because that's the closest thing I've got to a Ferrari power unit in my wardrobe.
Mate, you stick with me. Hey, I'm hosting you. You just be nice, all right? Keep that Alpine shirt on. We'll be okay. I don't want to have to just accidentally put you on mute halfway through the cast. You know what I mean? So
I don't know. Maybe the crowd will enjoy that more than hearing my voice. So
no. Don't sell yourself short, mate. You've been pretty good. I'll give you that. I'll give you a pass mark. Can't be handing out compliments left, right, and centre, but I'll give you a pass mark.
Well, just to make you feel better, I'm wearing an old Renault Danny Rick hat as well, so we're still on the Alpine/Renault train.
You're just on the Aussie train. I don't mind that at all. I'm actually really looking forward to see how Oscar Piastri does go next year. I think this kid's going to be better than Danny Rick. Now, obviously, Danny Rick made a big splash when he first started, and obviously now tailing off towards the end of career, just not getting the McLaren right, but I am really excited for this Oscar Piastri kid. He's only done Formula E, Formula 3, Formula 2, back to back. And the only other drivers to do that are George Russell and Charles Leclerc. And we know the caliber of drivers that those boys are.
Yeah, and he's been managed by Mark Webber as well. So obviously having that sort of manager who's got their foot not only in the door but through it and walking around in the next room quite easily. Mark Webber's probably like that McLaren deal never would have happened if he wasn't on the end of that. So he set himself up well, Oscar, and it is bloody exciting to have another Aussie in, as hard as it is for having one Aussie in and another Aussie actually kicking him out. Like you said, Oscar's got some extreme talent, extreme pace. But yeah, what can he do in that McLaren? Hopefully he can take it to the young Brit in Lando Norris. And yeah, we've got a few other Aussies in the wing as well. Jack Doohan, he's in F2. Pretty unlucky this season in a few feature races. He actually crashed out of the last 4 feature races. But anyway, we got to get to this Suzuka race because it looks like they've taken the weather straight from the real race last weekend. It is pouring down, man, a tin.
Yes, this is it. What do we like to see in the elite division? We love to see absolutely bodged weather and just making them sweat. Now, this brings back everyone. We had last week, we had a few guys with the wets. They crashed out and did whatever. This does actually bring out some this equalises a lot of people because to be in this elite division, you don't have to be quick, but you have to be quick on all formats.
Yeah, for sure.
You can't just be a dry weather driver and go, oh yeah, I'm extremely quick in the dry, but as soon as I go to wets, I'm just not there because you just won't be in this championship at all. So to have that consistency, you have to be able to adapt to that wet weather. So this really does bring out the best in our drivers, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. This is we haven't had any wet weather during the week. I know the Academy division is dry only, but Novice and Prod didn't get any wet weather. So we're in for new territory here. As we don't really know what's going to happen. Is the race, is it going to be a wet through to a dry setup? Is it going to be full wets onto inters? So looking forward to that. But we're just about to get this race underway. 9 laps, sprint race, elite division. We're about to get ready to go here at Suzuka.
That is it. So we are 5 lights, ready to go, and we are off. So Kebab on the front gets a pretty good start off here with Crush right behind him. Eckham's got a pretty good start as well. We'll jump back into the field. And the 2 Mercedes are up there. Aston Martins, we have got a spinner Don't quite know who that is yet.
Yeah, I didn't catch the spin either, but a pretty clean start considering the wet weather. Like Skip said in the chat, we have had a few guys smash into the wall off the start. So as I say that, I think it's one of the Alpines, Kebab, who's gone around on the wet, so that'll see him have to trail from the back.
So it looks like Eckham's made up all the way in front there. Crush and Taz are in that little battle. This is the getting a little bit sideways there. Maybe seeing a Carlos Sainz going around, but no, everyone's managed to keep it clean. It looks like Dutchy might be under a bit of pressure here with... Oh, Zakov's gone straight past him. Glad we have another yellow flag. That's a Ferrari. Zay's gone around. Eckham has approached this pretty well. He's off and running.
Yeah, looking good at the front. He's gained 2 positions off the start, which is good for him. So that puts him in a good position, not knowing what the weather's going to be like for that next feature race, or the main race, we should say. You want to be at the front of the grid to avoid the chaos.
That is it. So Eckham, obviously the 2 boys at the front having those fishbowl helmets, so obviously they're doing something for the drivers. But yeah, they've gotten away pretty well. It's only been a couple of spins. It does look like we have we have a few drivers actually pitting, which might have a little bit of damage, but hopefully not too much. Crush has managed to keep Tazza behind him as we go. Apex has made his way up into the racing.
So Zakov as well, really rapid start. He's gained 5 positions from 10th as our leader straight into the top 5. So he'll be blowing out this early in this wet session.
Yeah, nah. He is the dominant driver as we've talked about. But yeah, he's made up 5 positions again there. Zico's gone down 5. Dutchy's gone down 3. Kebab's been the big loser. Started up the front on pole and unfortunately having a little moment there all the way down to 15th. So he's got a bit of work to do. Eckham is just driving away with this race at the moment, leaving pretty much everyone behind in his wake. But it looks like we have a little bit of a form rush behind. Dutchy is struggling a little bit here. Not overly struggling, but he's the pack has seemed to form up behind him, as well as Tazza and Apex and Zakov and Gares forming behind Crush. But Eckham's driving into the sunset. Eckham's pulling a Zakov and saying, "See you boys, I'll catch you later."
Yeah, it's looking good in the wet weather so far.
That is it. So Eckham setting the fast laps to the 144. You presume that this race it's pretty heavy now. I'm pretty sure they're going to go all the way to the ends on those wets. So I probably wouldn't be seeing any intermediate runners come out. We may see a couple if they do. If it does back off a little bit, maybe the guys towards the back try and take a few little risks or whatnot, but I wouldn't be saying too much here. Zakov's starting to put a bit of pressure here on Apex. And again, Dutchy just seems to be holding up the most of the pack. Sneaky in a Zico in a little bit of a tassel there. Nice and close.
Yeah, it's all pretty behind Dutchy there. It's quite bunched up in the pack. So a lot of these drivers, Vlad, he's going to have to navigate his way through this traffic in the wet. And it's easy to put your foot down a little bit too early on this track. So you wouldn't want to do it in the wet. It just makes it that much harder. So these guys, it's really good so far, actually. We've only seen a couple of spinners, but of course we are watching the elite division, so this is what we expect from the best.
Yeah, so just go and jump on board with Crush here. He's under a lot of pressure here from Tazza, really getting up in his grill. As we see, is that Zakov that goes wide? Yeah, Zakov does go wide coming into 130R there, so going to lose a little bit of time there. That'll back off Apex a little bit. Go a bit further back. The big train forming here. Dutchy's gotten away a little bit. Same with Sneaky. And now it's a Zico with the direct pressure behind from Vlad. So Vlad's going to look to capitalise here and see. Is he going to try and move up the inside, or is he just going to sit right behind him?
He's really just putting the pressure on. I think he's just going to cruise behind for the meantime being, but Vlad, he's a phenomenal driver. He's really good in our pit box for giving the guys tips, so he's very well structured on how he drives this Ferrari, and I love his work, young Vlad, so expect to see him as a big gainer in the race as well.
There's a big little tweak there from Crush. So Crush is going to lose out to Tazza here. Does happen to rejoin there as he goes around. No, he saved that. It's great car control there from Crush. We do have a yellow flag. I don't know where that is. Is that going to be a safety car?
It's a safety car, yeah. I think just then I was on the onboard with Crush. He actually made contact with Apex, and that's what stopped him from going all the way around. When he lit up those rears, he just managed to just tire tap Apex, which kept him in line. So no harm done there to Apex. I don't think he sustained any damage, but a little bit of a lucky one there for Crush not to fully send it around and bin it into the wall. So the Alpine lives to see another day in the sprint race.
Yeah, that's Crush has done pretty well there. So he has saved it. Can thank Apex for that one. But again, Apex up into that top three. He's as we see him go off, and he's in the dirt. That is a commentator's curse if I've seen one. So now he's and there's a Worms of Sneaky comes straight behind. Is there another one going to join?
Oh wow! So that's Sneaky, who's just almost seemed like an innocent bystander to that.
Yeah, so poor Sneaky. He's now out of this race. How is that for timing? Flicking through, we see Apex just go off the track, and then we see, focus on someone coming wide at that turn and then absolutely demolish himself. So that was a virtual safety car, but now we're back on board. So no harm done to Eckham's lead at the front. He's, again, driving.
We got a spinner. Taz has just gone around, so he's going to lose positions now.
Looks like he's held that together quickly enough to stay in it. So Zakov's off 8. Again, he's just being consistent. Yeah, he's being quick, but he's just staying on track at the moment. So he's got 3.6 seconds to chase down Eckham here, who looks very, very comfortable and in control. Gares is putting a lot of pressure here on Crush. Obviously, Taz is falling off. Again, Dutchy seems to be the leader of this middle pack. Not holding them up as per se anymore. But yeah, he is the leader of this middle pack, as we see Fluxy with a 3-second time penalty for corner code. Can't be a race without Fluxy getting a penalty. That just wouldn't be ARL.
I think maybe Dutchy just has not as a strong first sector as he does in the second and third, because he does seem to make some time out here in the second and third sector. So maybe just under the wets, just been a little bit more cautious since that first sector is, it's hard enough in the dry as it is. I'm sure in the wet it'd be pretty unnerving feeling the car slipping and sliding around. Who's that's gone off in front? Tazza. It's gone off in front of Dutchy, so they redress and Dutchy just joins in and goes past Tazza. But
yeah, that is, again, that's a shame. Tazza just struggling as of late. He's been back-to-back. He won the Novice Division. He won the Prodigy Division. Steps up into the Elite. Had a really good start to the season. Really good start. But unfortunately, he has a struggle just of lately. Maybe a lack of confidence. Maybe there's something going on. But Taz is not having that much fun lately, unfortunately for him.
Yeah, we know he's a good driver, so it is unfortunate to see him not driving as well as he could, or getting those finishes and points that he could. But I guess that is a bit of the sport of racing. Sometimes things just don't go your way, and you might not have the best day, as we see him get a little bit squirrely there behind Azeko. So, but we've got we've got Spliff as well, who's made up 9 positions in this race, so that's a solid effort. It's the fish helmets, a little quartet of them that are in this race that seem to be loving the wet weather.
Yeah, that's it. A little bit of Finding Nemo to get you up and about. I've just heard from Dodge in the chat. It says Tazza has wing damage, so is that going to push him further down, or is he going to be okay? Ekham's staying in front of Zakov, but Zakov has closed that by 1.6 seconds in the last 2 laps. So Ekham's going to have a fight in his hands here if he really wants to keep that position. Again, we have Gares chasing down Crush. The pressure's there. We've already seen one mistake from Crush, so if he doesn't keep it together, Gares is right there, right behind him. Again, this is a guy that is second in the Drivers' Championship, so we know how quality Gares is.
Tins, have you done much racing in the wet?
No, I have not done much racing in the wet. I just try and stay on the track during the dry times, let alone the wet times. So then the last race we had that was wet, we had Singapore, and I spun in the first lap and damaged my rear wing, and that was my race pretty much over.
Ah, right. Yeah, that is a hectic track to race in the wet.
Wet and rear wing damage is not fun. Not at Singapore.
No.
The only other worst place it could have happened is at Monaco, and then I just would have sent it into a wall, pulled a Mick Schumi, or maybe I would have done a Danny Rick, maybe just to see what goes on. But nah, it is so far. It looks like Zakov is right on the tail here of Eckham as we continue to blabber on about wet weather racing, but Zakov's going to have a crack here, and it looks like he's going to get him done pretty easily. So this is a corner that he has backed off a little bit, giving him the space. He knows that is a bit of a tight corner. Is he going to go up the inside? No, he's not. Going to bide his time. The one question I will ask you is, what do you think of the new McLaren skin?
I don't mind it. I don't mind the colour pink. I think it looks all right. I did prefer the yellow Ferrari one over the new McLaren skin.
Oh, you are a disgusting human being.
Mate,
yeah.
bit of yellow.
Mate,
the prancing horses.
You Ferrari are different units.
Grazie ragazzi. Yeah, but Zakov here, he's absolutely crushed that a 3.6 second gap.
That is
only
correct.
A couple laps ago. And now he's right on the tail of Eckham. So it just goes to show this guy, wet, dry, rain, hail, or shine, he's on the money, Zakov. But Eckham as well has done a really clean race to just stay out in front and stay consistent too. So really good up the front here from the two of those guys.
Nah, they are fighting it out. So we might just leave that battle really quickly again. So 1 and 2, they are fighting it out. It seems that Zakov is really gaining time in this second sector. Eckham seems to hold his own in the first, seems to hold his own in the last sector, but Zakov's really closing the gap in this second sector. As well as we have that fight, we have Crush and Gares fighting for that third position. So, yeah, there's plenty going on. Tazza looks like he's pulled himself away, even with wing damage, has come away from the group. And again, Dutchy's just holding up that midfield group. Again, not holding it up, as I would say, but he is the leader of that group, and there's not a lot of things going on there. We do know it is very hard to overtake at this track. As we see, is Zakov going to get a better run here, or is he just managed to hold it here, Eckham? As we are going to start the last lap of the sprint race, so it's now or never. But yeah, we know how difficult this track is to overtake on. So as long as Eckham can hold it on, is he look to go at the inside? No, he's not going to quite get it.
The one thing that Eckham does have up his sleeve here is obviously Zakov has needed to use his ERS quite heavily to break that gap down. So Eckham is almost housing a full battery, whereas Zakov is...
As you see that, they're side by side. Sorry to interrupt. He's held his line there, Eckham. He is in the dry part of the track, and he's managed to keep Zakov out. Zakov's going to take the inside, and he goes around. Can he spin it back around before the others join him? It's a very hairy corner to go in. This is going to bring Crush and Gares onto the scene.
So a nice little pirouette there from Zakov to just get around and get back on track to hold this P2. But, yeah, I'm sure that we'll have a ticket submitted, and our great friends there at the FIA will be having a few watchovers of that one. But on to the rest of the race here now. So Gers is also right behind on the back of Crush. So what do you reckon? Is he going to jump for a dive here?
I think Gers will probably take his medicine. To be fair, it's only one position on the grid. It's not going to matter that much. I think he'd rather be safe than sorry, because if he gets a penalty or anything like that, he's just going to risk it. Well, no, he's got plenty of ERS, but just don't think it's worth it here. If he's close enough, he'll have a crack. But has he had a crack? He
had a semi-send.
Yeah, I just don't think it's worth it in the end. So he'll come home in fourth again. He can make that place up off the start, which is perfectly fine.
Sorry, I was on the onboard of Gers, and there was a McLaren sitting right in the middle of the track as Gers had to dodge him. So it caught me off guard there. Sorry for the chat for that little.
We do like to. The people do like to see this as they come across. Just park themselves at the end before all of it comes across. So these are your results so far. We have Ekim, Zakov, Crush, Gers, Tazza, Dutchy, Ezeko, Vlad, Lemon and Spliff are your top 10, followed by Lights, Kebab, Apex, Zay, Fluxy. It looks like Farmer Sam, Tiger, Kato, and then bringing up the back will be Huey, you dig. So, yeah, no, it's unfortunately for Apex. He's not had the greatest wet session there with that little bit of a spin going around on that virtual safety car. So it's probably a silly mistake to say. I know that sounds harsh, but again, these are our elite drivers, and for someone who's sitting third in the championship to make a mistake going around a corner that you go around flat out on, to just kind of trundle around and go around, that's going to cost Apex a lot there. So he's going to have a lot of work to do going into the actual race itself.
Yep. No, agreed there. So, does anyone give us a cheeky little? Oh, they wouldn't be able to see the weather yet for the next session, would they?
No, not quite yet. So a great race from Ekim there, led from start to finish. Great way to get his campaign started. Just go through these incidents really quickly. But yeah, Ekim's come out and done quite nicely. So well done to Ekim. Again, Ekim, Zakov, Crush, Gers, Tazza, Dutchy, Ezeko, Vlad, Lemon and Spliff round out your top 10. So stick with us and we will be back shortly for our main event. All right, so we're straight back here. It looks to be starting as a dry race. So you're probably going to see the likes of Zakov really get himself up to speed. You're going to see a lot more drivers that may have struggled in that wet session. They're going to get going relatively quickly and start to see. You're going to see some really, really quick times come out of these boys. They are the cream of the crop, the creme de la creme, as we like to say, but they are going to put on a show for us, and hopefully we can just keep up with some of the action that's going to happen, especially going into turn one.
Yep, we're about to fire up the engines here at Suzuka, and we're on the grid ready for the Thursday race of the Elite Division. Here we go.
So 5 red lights, and we are off.
So Ekim gets a start on Zakov, and they all form into this first corner here, looking to just get around this first lap without any damage. A few changes in the middle of the grid for positions, but everything so far nice and clean.
There's a 3-star call up here. They've started to kind of sort themselves out. We do have a yellow flag. It looks like we've lost a few drivers towards the back. Looks like Kebab and Zay have come around. Unfortunately, it looks like also Tigger and maybe Flukesy have been caught up in that as well. So not a too bad a start to get away here. Eckham has really started off well. It's good to see we got Gares and Tazza and Dutchy out of our top 10 races that are on the hard tyre. So as long as there's no incidences around about that 10, 11, 12 lap mark, they'll be in the prime position. But if it does happen, then the medium guys will be in it. So it'll be interesting to see how these tyres go about. But other than that, a pretty clean start. Looks like we do have a bit more going on there between Kebab, Flukesy and whatnot. But we will continue to show you throughout the back of the session. It looks like we have, is that Spliff trying to go around Apex there? Not going to quite get it done. We have Crush and Gares. Looks like, see, this is what I was talking about before. Gares did take that fourth position, didn't take any risks, and has already made that place up on Crush. So got a better start. But starting on that same level on the grid doesn't really make too much of a difference. So he's probably made a good decision there, kept himself out of trouble. Taz is now pushing now that he's on the dries, finding this a lot more comfortable. And again, he's on the hard, so if he can keep up nice and early, this is going to be quite an interesting race, especially for Gares and Tazza.
Yeah, I love this mixture, like you said earlier, the medium runners and the hard runners up the front here. The safety car is going to make or break it for those hard runners, as you said. We've seen it earlier in the week with HK, unfortunately getting unlucky with the safety car. So it is a bit of a gamble, but if the gamble pays off, then you reap the rewards of those gambles.
That is it. Now we see, again, Eckham's leading the way. Zakov's just trundling behind him, just biding his time. The DRS is a pretty powerful weapon at this course.
So Crush just sneaks by Scares and goes around the outside there into P3. So he's going to lock that final podium position out here on lap 2, and he's already pulling a little bit of a gap on Gares down the back straight here. So Gares loses a position there, and now he's got Tazza right on the back of him for pressure as well.
So Zakov might actually try to go down the inside here. He has gone up the inside, but Eckham's placed his car pretty well. Zakov's got a great run out of this corner and has taken that first place off of Eckham. So great lap there. We'll probably going to see Eckham come back at him. No, Eckham's decided against it. But great start there, great battle from the guys at the front here. We'll just try and plod back again. Crush, Gares, Tazza in that mix. Looks like, again, Dutchy's leading our midfield pack. So Dutchy's resurgent this year. He is on the hard, so he is going to be a little bit slower. If he can keep most of these guys behind him, it's going to be great for Tazza. As we see, Tazza actually just got past Gares, so probably a bit of a mistake there from Gares, unfortunately. But if Dutchy can hold these guys back, let Tazza get to work, that'll be an absolute great strategy from the Aston Martins, and there's a reason why they're P2 in the constructors.
Now, that is going to be fine if Dutchy can hold off the charging Ferrari Vlad. Now, this guy, he's got a few tricks up his sleeve, so it's going to be a great fight between him and Dutchy here for P6. We see Gares is dropping off a little bit as well, and he just gets a little bit swirly, so it's not going to be long before maybe Dutchy's on the back of him as well. So there's a little bit of jostling going on in the top 6 here for, say, top 7. But this race is shaping up to be a good one so far. We haven't lost too many people, just a few spinners by the looks of it.
Now, Apex is getting work here. Apex has put himself up in a night, so he's showing his pace again. As long as he stays out of trouble, he should be able to put himself back up within those points. So really looking forward to seeing what he can do as he just goes straight past Zico like he's standing still.
Oh, wow. So Vlad went around there and he was just avoids going around with Vlad and just makes a slight contact there with Spliff. So Apex just avoided a few coffins there in that first sector.
Yeah, we've already seen, I think it was Bassink who went around there after another Ferrari incident. You're dirty Ferrari drivers. No, I shouldn't say that. But yeah,
I just ripped this out being straight up like that.
Unfortunate for Vlad there. He was making a push, and Zay seems to be struggling right at the back of the field. So not a great day for Ferrari here. We'll press on with the rest of the matters. Zakov's starting to pull away from Eckham here, almost breaking that DRS train. Crush is starting to put a bit of pressure on Eckham now and starting to close that gap. Tazza directly behind Crush, and then Gares has dropped back a little bit. Again, Dutchy's starting to pull away from this main group, so Dutchy has got the pace on the track, but just not quite the pace to keep up with those leaders. So if he keeps himself together, he can find himself well and truly on a podium if something goes wrong up with the front of the pack. But just keeping on track and working away. As we say that, Apex is putting his foot down. He's made up a few positions here. He's got past Spliff on that lap as well. So again, Apex made that big mistake in that sprint race to go around on a virtual safety car, and now he's making himself work because he's charging all the way back up as we see Farmer Sam get past the Zico.
And as that pass happened as well, just earlier, Tazza has got past Crush into P3, so the Aston Martin here is now going up to the McLaren, and seems like Tazza's on a bit of a charge as well. He's making some ground to these front runners as well, so a lot of passes happening here. So we've got another... So Zay's out. We've got a DNF here now. And he's parked on that back straight before 130R, so it's looking like it's just a yellow flag at the moment. No safety car required for this incident, according to EA, but see what happens here as the drivers come around the back straight.
Yeah, it looks like Zay's just retired on track, so lap 5 that is. So we'll continue with that. And just to mention, HK did not call you a dirty racer. I called Ferrari's dirty racers. And if you're part of that team, which I know you definitely are, that does mean you.
Mate, I'm going to have to defend the Scuderie here because we're a bunch of beautiful individuals that do nothing but clean racing on the track.
Hey, I'm not saying you're not beautiful. You've got Charles Leclerc and Carlito leading the charge. And Charles Leclerc is a very, very sexy man in himself, but...
Yeah, I see. Fernando's carrying all the looks for
Alpine. Oh, we did have Oscar Piastri. He was a... Nah, actually, I'll take that away.
Well, Esteban Ocon, I mean, Esty Bestie, he seems like a beautiful man, but he does look like Freddie Mercury from Wish, so shout out to Esteban Ocon.
Yeah, nah, he's... it's going to be interesting to see a French team with an all-French lineup. So... looking forward to that. We're just going to come back here with, looks like Farmer Sam, Lights, Zico, and Sneaky have just found their little pinch back in the midfield. So a little bit going on there. Sneaky recovering pretty well in that midfield. Looks like Apex is starting to put that pressure on Dutchy. So again, Apex is starting to make his charge. Up through that
serious pace.
He does.
Serious pace.
Well, we saw it last year. We saw glimpses of the talent that he has and the pace that he has, but he just wasn't consistent enough last year. He just, as I say that, we see Lemon DNFing. So
safety car.
Yeah, safety car comes straight out.
Not sure if it's virtual.
This is and there's a pile up here with.
Oh, what the?
Is that? Has that happened, or is
that's happened. I was on board with Apex, and he was glitching out, but somebody actually got their front wing underneath the rear of his car, and it lifted him up, so he couldn't move. Did that happen on your screen, or was that just my screen?
No, that happened on my screen, but something just seems to be up with EA at the moment. So. Now, this is the hard part here. We've seen Zakov...
Rush really slow here.
Yeah, we've gone to 7. So the first 7 drivers didn't actually get a chance to pit. And that is left with Gares, Apex, Spliff, Azico, and the rest of the field who have pitted.
Apex has gone onto the softs. I don't know if he would have wanted to do that either.
Yeah.
That's what he showed on my screen. These softs are dead insanely quick on this track. Werry Boy last night, I think he might have only done legitimately 5 or 6 racing laps. And then Dutchy's just got rear-ended here under the safety car and he spun around. So there's something real funny going on here. Yeah. I don't know if it's the Delta times and he just had to slam his brakes on, but he's gone around and whoever hit him, which might have been Zakov, he's lost his front wing and gone around. So there's absolute chaos here at Suzuka and all our front runners have either got damage or spun or... This is nuts.
It seems like we're going to have a lobby reset, I would say. It just seems to have bugged out. So if you can bear with us for a little second, I'm just going to get confirmation. But it looks like we are going to have a red flag. So we are having a reset. So what we're going to do is we're going to send you back to that show opener and then we'll be right back as soon as we can. So unfortunately, we'll call red flag on the race and we're going to have a lobby reset. So if you can bear with us, I'll leave you with this wonderful show opener that the Dirty Drive, their setups now.
Maybe a few tweaks.
Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised if you see a few tweaks from a few drivers. Again, this is the elite division. Guys know how their cars work. They know what to play with if something's not working. They have their drivers that they take it. There's I know personally I take a lot of setups from Zakov and Taza, sometimes even SGN. So these guys that spend time and look after things, we do tend to go after that. So these guys are the ones that kind of set up their setup. But we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights, and we are off. So nice and clean to start with. It looks like Ekham's gonna hold it again.
Zakov's not going to give up too easy, but he does think better of that one. So a nice redress, and as Gas, he goes on the inside of Crush, slight little contact, so that'll put him behind. Taza and Dutchy on the back of the Williams with Zico, Vlad, Spliff, and Kebab rounding out the top 10, and a great another start here in the Elite Division, nice and clean.
That's it, and we see Apex, who we've lost a driver already, so it looks like is that Farmer Sam and Zay? So Zay's had an absolute horror night tonight, getting tangled up again. But Apex has made his way up onto 11th already. So this man has had a great race restart and made up a few more positions that he would like. Just take that extra wide line to try and get a bit more run out of that corner. But Ekham's leading the way again. So Ekham with a great start. He covers Zakov off. So Zakov has to pull away and come out and come out of that corner and not contest it, because having no formation lap on those tyres are going to be a little bit colder. So you can't just commit to that inside line and expect to get away with it. So some great driving and great defending there from Ekham, as Zakov's going to try and go around the outside. He gets down it. Ekham's left him the space. Ekham's going to take it back. So some great driving there from our leaders. That has brought Crush up into the fold. Taza and Gez. Again, these guys are pulled away. Dutchy again. He's the driver of the middle section. Now, it is interesting that Taza and Dutchy have gone back onto the hards, but Gez has changed to the mediums for the start of this race.
Yeah, maybe he just feels on the first stint there, he was maybe losing a little bit too much time on those hards and wanted that little bit of extra grip early on, and probably hoping for a safety car as well. But Taza and Dutch, the only two in the top 10 running those hards. So if this safety car comes out at that crucial time, which we've seen at every race so far this week, then the Aston Martins are looking pretty dangerous there.
Yeah, the Aston Martins do work well together. Again, being P2 in the Constructors' Championship, they've obviously talked about this and decided, we're going to go on the same strategy. We'll go with what we can go. again, Taz is probably the one with the pace here out of that team, but Dutchy's not that far away. Dutchy's not losing that much time to Tazza. So it works pretty well there. And again, if Dutchy can hold up that middle section without compromising his own race too much, he can allow the top 5 to kind of get away. So
yeah.
So we're going to see Zakov try to go around the outside here.
So really, really good driving from Eckham. He's really just putting that McLaren wherever he can get it.
Ooh,
so
a little bit of touch there. I think he might have just touched the... Zakov might have just touched that rear end of Eckham there. Don't quote me on that, but it did look like a little bit of tickle from behind. Looks like they've
just
gotten
back
away
on the stream, and it looked like there was a little bit of contact.
Yeah, but no harm, no foul. So even though Eckham's doing a great job of defending, Zakov's telling him, "Hey mate, you might want to get a wriggle on because I don't intend on staying behind you for very long." But again, that top 5 have gotten away. Dutchy is holding up that now. Vlad is behind Dutchy again. Now, is Vlad hopefully going to keep it together on this back corner? Or is he going to once again spin like he did in the first race? So, looks like he's going to hold it together for now, but got a few races up there. Apex is holding his way there. It's the 2 AlphaTauri are back here, but Apex needs to start making headway with that pace. So obviously he made up a lot of ground in the first race. So it looks like some guys are warmed up now and they're in their rhythm and they've allowed themselves to get going.
Around the lap 4 mark, lap 5 is when you can start putting yourself into a rhythm. The field starts to spread out a bit, and you see those intervals just change a little bit. So yeah, able to get yourself behind and go have a crack.
Yeah, as you say that, Zakov makes a bold move down the inside, going into the S's on Eckham, gets the job done and gets himself away cleanly. Now it looks like Lemon's had a spin at the back here. We're going to stick with these front guys just for now, just because of how close it actually is. But again, the top 5's pulled away. Taz has done a great job here to hold on to this group with those hard tyres on, and Dutchy's just sitting back, holding up this group. We have Kebab and Azeko swapping places back here.
Yeah, and like you say with Taz, once these mediums start to go off a bit, he's going to have the advantage here. So he's sitting pretty at the back, let them have a run, let them dig their tyres out, and once he comes good, he's going to be rocking and rolling in that Aston Martin. So as well, we just have a look around. So Dutchy and Tazza, they're looking really consistent here. These two guys get some nice points again for their team of Aston Martin. Gares and Crush and Tazza as well, as I just mentioned, is where the battle is at the moment. They're sort of slightly spreading out from each other for a little bit, but nothing too crazy. They're all just getting in their groove here. So we've got a full yellows out. I think it's a virtual.
That's correct. So it looks like Lemon's DNF'd again. So Lemon not having the best night tonight. Is that gonna, where we got Zay bringing up the rear? So, but just to,
looks like it's staying under a virtual for the moment.
Yeah. So again, that top 5's pulled away. Dutch is in front of Vlad with a Zico Kebab spliff. Then the AlphaTauris have pulled them up. So we're back into racing mode here. Has anyone managed to get the jump in the top section here? Looks like Gares is going to go straight past Crush, but Crush has taken that outside line and given himself a better run. Is he going to be able to hold that position? He does. So some great driving there from Crush just to take that outside line, get a better run off, and move along. Tazza is holding on
a little bit wide there, so that's just going to let Tazza have a bit of a sniff. Sorry to cut you off there, Tim.
No, you're all right, mate. There's plenty of action going on. Again, look back to Apex, and Apex isn't making the ground up that he was in the first. He's actually under a fair bit of pressure here from his AlphaTauri teammate. So, again, everyone...
and just a slight lock-up from him.
Yeah. Looks like Tazza now. Gaz is just starting to drop off here. So, Gaz has probably made a couple of mistakes here. Which has allowed Tazza to hold on. All Tazza has to do is just hold on to the back of this DRS train, and he's going to put himself into contention for a race win. Hopefully Zakov doesn't pull himself away too far.
Yeah, Zakov is just inching his way away from the Ekam at the moment. But these guys, this battle, the way they've been driving so far, anything is possible. But Zakov looking like he's wanting to build that lead early, like he always does.
That's it now. We got Dutchy and Vlad here. Again, Dutchy's just holding that middle pack up, but he's on the hards. Everyone else is on the mediums except for lights. So he's going to do a great job just to hold everyone up here, kind of keep himself in contention, because he's going to have the pace to come back in the second half of this race.
Yeah, for sure. So Vlad, he's going to go around Dutchy, and he might go for a little bit of a hunt now. He's got a bit of free air between him and Tazza, so he's just going to block this inside line off at the top of the chicane here, and off he's going to go. So really for Dutchy, he just needs to hang off the back here, get DRS for a couple of laps if he can, and try and hold off the Zico and Kebab, who are also charging on those mediums as well. But not really do or die on hards. You sort of don't want to, you don't want to fight it too much. Like, as you said, the hards are going to go longer. The mediums will drop off. So that's where you make your advantage on this strategy. So Dutchy's just got to pick and choose his battles here. You obviously don't want to go too hard, but you don't want to just let people drive past you either. So
that's it, and he's got the pace to hold him with these front runners. So as long as he stays close enough, he'll be in great. So these mediums, you're going to look to see probably 11, 12, 13 laps out of these medium runners. So the mediums are going to start to drop off maybe in 2 or 3 laps time. And then the hard runners are going to have that advantage back. And obviously, the hards do take a while to warm up. I guess that is the opposing strategy, or the alternate strategy, should I say, does allow that to be a little bit stronger in this game than it was in the last game. The last game, the tyre temperatures didn't really matter too much because you're on soft, you're on mediums, and the hard tyres weren't actually a thing. Now with the new game coming out, as we've seen, it looks like Flukesy's gone around. So it's made these hard tyres a lot stronger, but they do take forever to warm up. So
yeah, and under the safety car, that can be an issue as well. Having to warm them up under the safety car. I know I've heard through the grapevine that apparently Basink and Zakov have some mega way of warming those puppies up.
Mega way, whoa.
So if anyone's wondering, you'll have to message those guys individually, because if I let out some trade secrets, I'm sure my name will be the first one to be booted out of the ARL.
Make sure if you're going to harass anyone, make sure it's Basink. He's hasn't got enough to do at the moment, so he only runs the league.
He's got the easiest job,
He's got plenty of time.
For someone that's got the easiest job, I think he probably complains a little bit for someone that's got
Now, there's all well and good to get on Basink's back. He loves to laugh. He's a really good bloke and loves it. But you gotta start bad-mouthing him like that. Oh, the FIA may not treat you so well, my friend.
No, it was clearly a joke, guys, because he doesn't have the easiest job. Same with HK. These guys.
No, you can give HK all you want. No.
What team does Bass drive for? Is he Afro?
No, he is the Haas driver this year.
Ah, correct. Yes. No, guys like Bass, Fluxy, HK, all those guys in the staff, FIA, Weru, and our commentators like me and Tim's, beautiful people. Rebs, shout out to Reblitz, my voice, what do you call it?
Trainer.
Yeah, voice trainer / clone. There's a lot of great people in this league, and if you are looking at joining the ARL, you have to get in the Discord ASAP. Season 6 is only 2 races away for our drive, so now's the time to get in and find out all about it as we get back to the racing.
Yeah. We've done that. So Apex, again, he's not really going too far. We have a yellow flag in Sector 1. It looks like that spliff that's gone off. So Apex has managed to get around him finally. Might release him. As Zico's gotten past Dutchy and given himself a bit there. Dutchy's also starting to pull towards the front of that pack. Again, Crush and Gares have kind of held their positions. Taz's hards are really starting to come into their own here, and he's starting to put pressure all over the back of the Gares. We saw Gares last time just start to kind of slip away from the front guys, and it looks like the same's happening again. And if Taz has got those hard tyres fired up,
Gares just gets off on the grass, which is going to give Tazza a sniff here, and he's going to get on the grass himself and go right around the outside. They hold 2 wide, but Gares keeps his car in the front. Will Tazza have a sniff? Thinks better of it, but Gares locks up a little bit, and Tazza just redresses in the back there. So that 130R is producing some serious lawn mowing on the outside there. So these guys keep it on the track, keep it clean, and Gares just gains a little bit out of that. But tight racing here at Suzuka.
That's it. The Kebab gets a 5-second penalty for a corner cutting. So obviously having a bit of trouble with that last corner.
So just to add here as well, both AlphaTauris and both Aston Martins have found themselves in the points on the race restart as well. So those 2 teams were the only 2 teams getting a double points haul, and they're doing the same again so far. So Apex not quite having the race he was having in the first run, but he's still within a sniff here on those mediums. If a safety car comes in, he's going to be looking as a big gainer there. So
that's it. So we'll jump back in with these front runners. Obviously, Zakov started to drive off into the distance. He's 5 seconds away now from the next 4, but Ekem and Crush look like they're locked in a little battle here, and Gares and Tazza look like they're also in one. So we saw this last time that the guys at the front, they're not really giving anything away. As we see, is that Tazza's gotten around Gares finally. So
yep,
those medium tyres are probably just starting to drop off close to now, and Tazza's got those hards fired up, and he's going to be really, really quick as he goes into the main part of his stint. As we see, Gares has gone in on lap 11 to change over to those hard tyres.
Yeah, a little bit earlier I would have thought, but very doable on these hards. Doable because they're durable. So he's going to come in and start his stint early. Maybe he just needed a bit of free air, because I think he would probably come out... where's he going to come out here? Probably just ahead of Fluxy, maybe just ahead of Zay. So, he's come out ahead of Fluxy. So, Gares has got himself a decent gap in here, and he's just going to be able to drive through, get consistent, and get some lap times in, which will be good for him. So, we'll see where that brings him into play close towards the end of the race when everyone else pits. But for now, he's sitting in P16.
Yeah, well, I think we've seen throughout this week that if you push those tyres too hard, you do actually lose a fair bit of time. So pushing your tyres too far here on Japan will cost you lap time. Maybe Gares is just starting to struggle a little bit. He's going, nah, I'm not going to risk it. I'm going to go on those hards. Hoping that there possibly be a safety car late in the race that might allow him to go on to softs. I doubt it, but yeah, he looks like he's struggling, so he's gone, look, I'm just going to take the approach and get out into some clean air and start trying to make some up, because he's got a bit of time there between himself. He's got 6 seconds between himself and Farmer Sam. He's going to have that fresh air to get into a rhythm, and once he gets in that rhythm, then the rest of the guys. So we've seen...
I have to say that.
Yeah, so
Ekem and Crush go in.
That is correct. So obviously Tazza's going to push on here. Zakov's going to push on as well. He's got a fair big advantage now. 6.5 seconds from the next guy. We're going to see anyone else. It looks like Spliff is going to come into the pits as well as Apex. So these guys know that their tyres are starting to just give way a little bit. they're going to take that extra bit of time. So where's that going to put Gares? So Crush has come out in front of Gares. It's given himself a second. So Gares didn't quite turn those tyres on.
Yeah, not able to really get them going. But the outlaps are harder, especially on this track. Yeah, those sectors that you go through, the car wants to understeer on the cold tyres pretty heavily. So, yeah, but he's still in contention here. He's put himself within a sniff again. So,
well, that's it. So obviously you've got the lap older hards that Gares has gone on to. He's going to have a little bit more grip, a little bit more tyre temperature in it, and he's going to try and reap the rewards here. But it looks like Crush has done a pretty good job, and it looks like Eckham's just starting to pull away here from Crush as well. So Eckham's turned those hard tyres on just probably a fraction quicker than Crush has, and Gares is looking to capitalise on the back. Well, we see our race leader Zakov has gone into the pit. So where is Zakov going to come out? So he's just leaving the pit lane now. We'll just watch. So he's going to come out in 6th position. So there is a big gap between himself and Eckham. And he has come out into relatively open air. He's only really got the 4 drivers in front. And the 4 drivers in front, other than Lights, are on the hard tyre. So if he's got this secret recipe to fire those hard tyres up, which it looks like he's already making up time on these boys anyway, he's going to reap the rewards.
Yep, you're totally right there.
We've a spinner in sector 1. It looks like it might be Cato, unfortunately. So Cato's gone round. Aziko's gone round, my bad. Again, just trying to push those hards too quickly. But yeah, Zach.
Yeah, it's one of those things you've got to get them fired up before you have a dig, especially on this track.
Yeah, now Zakov's already caught up to Tigger and Sneaky here. So he's going to be in DRS range. Doesn't have a lot of ERS to play around with. We see Kebab getting a 3-second time penalty. Dutch and Lights, I'd be looking to see Lights here pitting. I don't think he's going to take those tyres a little bit more, as yes, he does pit. Zakov going to go around. He's going to go up the inside here of Tigger. So that's no one's going to stop Zakov's charge. Zakov is the fastest in the league, Skipper, if you are wondering. Zakov is one of the quickest drivers in terms of time trial. He's consistently in, would you say the top 20 or the top 50?
I'd say probably, yeah,
top
anywhere
50.
Between the top 20 and top 50, he's there. So
yeah, he's a great, he's 1 lap pace. He's one of the fastest in Australia. He's consistently on the world leaderboard. If you look at most tracks and you look in the top 100, you'll find Zakov's name. He is very, very quick. There was almost a petition to have him kicked from the ARL because he's too quick, but no, we love having him here. We're pretty privileged to have a guy like Zakov who's immensely talented as he is, and hopefully the way that he goes about driving, he can drag a few more drivers up to his standard or drag them with him. So even though he's dominating this league and doing it relatively easy, there's guys that are starting to put it to him. We've got Eckham, Crush, and Gares, who stuck with him for most of this race at the start. So yeah, he's probably our Max Verstappen of this league. Is he going to go up the inside here? He does go up the inside of Sneaky, gets the job done. Kebab's retired from the race.
So anyone, if he retires and it brings out a safety car, it's our front runners and Farmer Sam who will be the beneficiaries of this. But Sam's going to have to go anyway. Those mediums are done for him. So it's Sneaky, Tigger, Dutchy and Tazza who are the ones that would want a safety car at the moment. But Kebab doesn't bring that out for them. So unfortunate for them that they don't get that. But they've done a good job to put themselves in a good position here for some good points for their team still. So we're just riding on board with Tazza at the moment. He's been pretty consistent out front on these hards. Like Tins mentioned earlier, they just hung behind the pack. And when those mediums went off, specifically Tazza, he took full advantage of that pace advantage window that he had. So even though he's not in a net P1 at the moment, he's looking super consistent and so far is having a fantastic drive. And both the Aston drivers are, got to give it to Dutchy as well. So he's just a good team effort. And as I say that, Tazza, he's going to dive in now. Bite the bullet, no safety car. So he's going to pit. I'm sure that Dutchy might go one more. But I don't think... Oh, no, they should double stack. They should have enough time. So we'll just see what happens here. Nah, he's going to go one more. So Tazza is going to come out on the mediums, and I'm not sure really where that's going to put him when he redresses. I dare say it's going to be somewhere close to maybe just in front of Vlad. Or did I get that completely wrong? No, he's gone in front of Eckham, so way off there. But he's going to be on those cold mediums now. They will warm up quicker than hards, but he's going to have those hard runners behind him who've had 4 laps on the hards now.
That's it. And I know that you'd probably look at going from a perspective of a driver, you'd probably look at Dutchy going, look, I'm going to double stack and I'm going to make sure that I get the best result that I can get. He's doing the team thing here. He's staying out another lap. He might even stay out one more lap, depending on whether or not he can keep Zakov in front. So he's defending quite well. As I say that, he does get around him. So he would have held Zakov up here and maybe a second or two.
And he's going to have a rip again. Up the inside, he wants to have it on Zakov.
Yeah, that's it.
So they go wheel to wheel, and this is going to set him up for the straight here. Oh, slight little contact. And when I say slight, it was a whisker, but it's Zakov who stays out in front. But you might see Dutchy have another lunge here. He's really putting on that ERS of the Aston. And we'll see if he's going to have a lunge here. He's going to push himself to the outside. Zakov holds the middle of the track. A little bit of contact there. Gets on the rear rim, but Zakov manages to keep it straight, and he's going to sail off into the distance. But a valiant effort from Dutchy. Sergio Perez-like sort of defence on the back there to keep his teammate Tazza in with the hunt. So that'll see Dutchy. He'll pit onto the hards now, and that puts Tazza, his teammate, in P3. So a really well team play from Dutchy, and that's going to earn him some brownie points in the Aston Martin team. What a teammate. That's what you want to get yourself on the podium. You can't ask for more than that from a teammate, so well done to Dutchy.
Oh, well, that's it. He had to try something. He's going, look, I don't have the pace to keep up with these front guys. Obviously, Tazza's in net P2 at the moment with Tigger yet to pit. So he's going, look, if I can hold him up a second or two, maybe we can try and pull him back a little bit. And to be fair, he's only about, it looks like 4 seconds or so in front now. So as we see a Haas, I think that's Huey's going round. But he's managed to close that gap. He was 6.5 seconds out before he pitted. So now that, again, Zakov's on those hards, Tazza's on those mediums, he's going to look to close that gap. He's only 4.5 seconds behind. Can he close it? And that Dutchy's going to go, he's gone above and beyond there, keeping him behind and taking away a few runs, which is going to take away, especially on that back straight, you're looking at maybe half a tenth just alone because he can't get on the gas.
Yeah, 100%. I know when it comes to racing here, a lot of people, like you said, you want to get those results. You want to do what you can to get those points in the ARL. But for him here to do something like that, to sacrifice that to give his teammate that sort of position and give him a crack, that's the most selfless act you can do. So shout out to Dutchy. We haven't seen too much of that. We've seen it a few times with, I know HK and Tadachi are quite good at helping each other out in that sense. They play the team game. I'm not sure who else does it, but I haven't seen it on this sort of level. Dutchy has almost sacrificed his race to give his teammate that position. So really showing his team play.
Do have a yellow here on that, mate. No, it's just little bit of a flunk there from Cody's there. So Apex has made his way up into 8th, but Tigger's come out on fresh medium, so he's going to have a little bit of pressure to deal with. Obviously, Gares has got the oldest hards on the block. Again, he's in this battle chasing that 3rd. So Taz has kind of pulled himself away now. 4.2 seconds behind. He is making time up to Zakov, and he does have the laps this week to chase him down, but it's going to be a big ask. But it does come down to this second lot. Eckham, Crush, and Gares. These guys are fighting it out for that podium position. So look for this to go probably another few laps before we possibly see, I think Flukesy's going around again, but before we see someone try to start getting their elbows out and going, look, we want that podium position, and as well as you've done, Eckham, by leading the race and winning the sprint, we might want to take that off you. Yep.
And Zakov and Tazza as well, they're both on pretty much the exact same ERS usage here, around the 15 to 10% mark, trying to keep each other at bay. But you can see that 4-second gap, it dwindles, it goes up, it goes down, but it's hanging around that 4 to 4.5 second mark. So it's a crucial time here for Tazza to utilise these mediums when they come into that window before they start digging, and then the hards will come in. So if he can make use of these early on, he could be in a sniff on Zakov. And I tell you what, like you said earlier, the calibre of Zakov, anybody that can reel him in, is going to put a big warning sign to say that they've got the pace to run with the big dogs as well. So see what Tazza can produce here at the back end of this race.
That's it. So it looks like he's made a little bit of a mistake. He got it to about 4 seconds and now down to about 4.45. So unfortunate there. He can't really afford to have too many mistakes because he's going to have to be pretty clean to catch Zakov. Again, we know how fast Zakov is, and his tyres are probably warming up to be close enough to in their prime sooner rather than later. So it's going to be very interesting, but yeah, he can't really afford too many mistakes. But we'll go to this battle along the back straight. We have Apex, Lights, and Tigger fighting it out for that 7th spot on the grid. So the AlphaTauri are really trying to make it hard for each other in trying to push each other. It looks like Lights might be under a bit of trouble here from Tigger. No, he's going to pull away. But yeah, they're really juicing that ARS. So
it looked like earlier, I was just following on board off camera, and it looked like Light actually sort of gave the position up for Apex to maybe go have a bit of a run and get off into the distance a bit, but a few mistakes early, and it's just seemed Light having to hold Tigger up and do the defending to give Apex some breathing room. But it looks like Apex is starting to pull off a little bit now, but we'll see if he can consistently keep a gap there and move his way up to. But that's the biggest gap, I think, or one of the biggest gaps he is off Vlad. They're 10 seconds apart between P6 and P7. So as we see, Tigger now under pressure from Dutchy, and Dutchy, this is where he put the pressure on Zakov. He's had a bit of practice here, and it looks like he's going to get the job done on Tigger, and he does. So that's a great pass from Dutchy, the team player, now fighting his way back into these points, these final points positions here. So he moves up from 10th to 9th, but he's going to have this McLaren on the back of him. But what's his pace like? He's got to take advantage as well of the mediums now to while these guys up in front, Light and Apex, I mean, they're 8 and 6 lap old hard, so they will be coming into their window as well. But Dutchy's only on the 4 lap old hards, mediums now, so he's going to have some pace to go have a bit of a hunt as well.
Yeah, well, again, we know that the pace of Dutchy isn't the top echelon of this race. I think that's Zakov's obviously elite, but Tazza, Eckham, Crush, Gares, they're probably your next top guys. They're the guys that are setting the pace. Now, Dutchy's not quite on that level at this race at the moment, but he has been the next echelon. He's been the next quickest guy. He's probably been the 6th or 7th quickest guy on the track. So yeah, I'd be looking to him. I know Apex set the world on fire in the first race, but we're not in the first race anymore. We're in the second race. And again, Dutchy's on a lap newer mediums, so he took that stint an extra lap to help his teammate out in Tazza, but he's going to reap the benefits in that reward. So I would be really, really surprised if I think Dutchy will eat up Lights. I don't think Lights is going to stand a chance against Dutchy. I think he's been too quick all day. I think he's going to get him and say, mate, I'm too quick for you. But whether or not he can catch Apex is a different story. Now, I think he can, but again, if Apex doesn't make any mistakes, now that he's started to pull a little bit away from Lights, I think you're going to see whether or not he can keep it together. But yeah, it looks like Lights is, even though he's defending, he's nowhere near quick enough to keep Dutchy behind him, as Dutchy's probably going to go around him on this corner. So yeah,
it was a little bit of a battle of the team players here, as we've seen Light earlier let Apex through. So Apex has done his job there as well. He did, as Alonso would say, tell him to defend like a lion, because he had a crack there, but Dutchy's through. So he's got a bit of time. He's got 5 laps here to make that gap up on Apex, and we've seen on this track it doesn't take much to make a mistake, and that is probably Dutchy's biggest friend is going to be at the moment, is to try and close that gap a little bit, and might start putting a few doubts into Apex's mind of where his pace lies on this circuit. So there is someone's gone around. It's Tiger, and he's gone around under the bridge there. I think that curb on the outside catches a few people, as you can get beached on there quite easily. So he's only managed to lose a couple of positions, but it does put him outside of the points.
Yeah. Unfortunate for Tiger there, but his teammate, yeah, he's setting the world on fire. So Eckham's had a really good race here, but again, the elbows are going to start to come out here. Crush and Gares are probably just sat behind and going, look, we're just going to keep up with him, save our tyres a little bit, just see what happens. Obviously, Gares has 1 lap older hards than the other 2 boys in front, so we might find it a little bit hard to maybe push towards the end of that race. We just don't know. He might prefer the hards. I know I probably preferred the hards on this track to the mediums. I just felt like they were more consistent. They weren't as up in the air. So maybe Gares can pull something out of these tyres, but look for the elbows to come out in this fight now.
I think with the hards as well, that they seem not to drop off as big as a cliff as the mediums do, and then obviously the softs, I mean, they jump off a cliff into the what do you call it? Oh my god, I'm like into that. But
they just jump off the cliff.
Think of the biggest cliff, because that's the one they jump off. It's especially on this track. I was with Werribee last night, and under the safety car, before he'd even gone out of 5th gear, 6th gear, really they were short shifting everywhere, but they managed to get 10% wear under the safety car, and they hadn't even hit a corner at more than 120 kilometres. So just goes to show on this track they really do die. I'm sure Huey will probably be able to get him to the end. He's only done 2 laps on him, but even at the end of this, they'll be getting squirrely for sure.
That's it. Now we'll go back to quickly just chucking in. So Tazza is making up some time on Zakov. It's down to 3.3, but it's just not closing quite fast enough. I think he's probably cost himself a few tenths at the start of this stint, but unfortunately Tazza is running out of time to close that gap. Again, Eckham, Crush and Gares, that's where your main battle's going to be for your points. Vlad's kind of running his own race here. If anyone makes a mistake in that top 5, he's probably going to bring himself into it. But unfortunately for Vlad, I just think he got caught up too much in that early race. So he's pretty much just running a lonely race here. If someone makes a mistake, he'll capitalise. If not, he's just going to have to live with 6. Dutchy is starting to close down Apex. It's down to 1.7. But again, Apex has got his tyres warm now, and I think Dutchy's going to have his work cut out to try and catch up to him. That's probably the main thing. That's your top 10. A Sneaky and Tiger. With Tiger making that mistake, he's having to work extra hard here to try and chase down Sneaky. So he's in the DRS range, but he again needs to find some rhythm and find some time to catch, because Tigger has that extra extra lap newer mediums, but he needs to find a way to pass in these next coming laps.
Yeah, I think a couple of these guys, like he's just touched on with Vlad, I think he'd probably be happy with this considering what happened to him in that first race before we restarted. So I think a few of these guys were looking, they'll probably take the results they got, as we see Tazza with a 3-second time penalty, and that gap has ballooned back out to the 4.2 second mark there. So I think for Tazza, he's tried everything he can. He's pushing, but now it's probably too far away to even have consideration on Zakov, unless Zakov has some sort of nasty spin. But yeah, it's between Ekim, Crush and Gers here, and this is what we will watch. It's going to be the most exciting battle to the end, a three-way fight, 3 constructors, 3 different drivers. Who is going to get the most points in this battle?
Yeah, that's it. So I think Ekim's probably the one most at risk. Obviously, we do have DRS zones that could be a little bit of a nuisance. But we've seen Ekim; he's mildly consistent. When he's up and about, he's one of the quickest drivers on this grid.
Yeah,
we've seen him absolutely destroy it in the wet and come home with that first place in the sprint race, and now he's on the podium at the moment for the main race. So an absolute great outing from Ekim, whether he comes home 3rd, 4th or 5th. Either way. But yeah, I think this is the time. They've got 2 laps here to go. They've got this lap and then the penultimate lap coming. There needs to be a move. I think it looks like Crush has saved up a bit of ERS.
And Gers wants to have a crackdown here.
Yeah, and Gers has saved up a bit of ERS as well. But in saying that, Ekim saved up all his ERS. He's got 70%. So, again, this is what you'd see. You see a lot of the other drivers that are looking to push or aren't really in fights. They've used all their ERS, but these boys know they've got a fight in their hands. They're up for a podium position. Can they save up that little bit more and stay in front, knowing that you can't really get past on this track unless you pull off a pretty good move? That can you save up a little bit of ERS? And Ekim's done a great job at that, because he's almost 10-15% above Gers, who's 2 positions behind him. So
and now Crush, he's dropped below that 40% mark, whereas Ekim's still rolling around the 70% mark. Ekim will get a bit of confidence, knowing as well the first race and this race, when he had the chance, he had to park the bus in front of Zakov, as we've spoken about, one of the quickest drivers, not only in the league but the country. So he'll take a bit of confidence in that as well, knowing that he can keep that guy behind him. But he does have the added pressure of having 2 drivers behind. So one of them if he makes a mistake, he's not only going to lose 1, but he might lose 2 positions, because there's only a second between the 3 of them here, between Gers and Ekim. He's just a little bit further behind. So there's a lot to play for here on this final lap. Gers has just dropped off the back of Crush here, so unless one of these guys, Ekim or Crush, make a mistake, it looks like Gers might have sealed his fate at the back here. But we've still got 3/4 of this track left to race on the final lap here.
Well, as you say that, Tigger's actually taken that final spot from Sneaky, but Sneaky's fought back really well here to stay back in front of him in the S's here. So even though Tigger did have the DRS, he's managed to stay in front there. So a great move from Sneaky there. Probably drained Tigger of all his ERS, so it's going to make it hard. But yeah, on this final lap, this looks like to be a great result here for Zakov, obviously coming away. Tazza's probably going to come home in second, but is there going to be any last-minute lunges? Are we going to see anything happen? I don't think so. We know these guys know how to race. We know what's going on. But are we going to see anything in particular that's going to stop them? I don't think so. They're just going to savour it, come home. Ekin comes home in 3rd, Crush in 4th. Gers will come home in 5th. Vlad, the lonely little survivor, he's going to come home in 6th. Apex does come home in 7th. and then followed by Dutchy, the team man himself. A great race here for Aston Martin, taking away most of it. Light, again, AlphaTauri have come away with a double points finish. They've done that, done pretty well there. Light's coming with ninth. Sneaky, and then Tigger, followed by Farmer Sam, who's managed to creep up. Looks like Caddo. Caddo's going to jump Farmer Sam with some penalties. Spliff 14th. Zico in 15th. Zay's managed to survive this race and is still alive. So it looks like he's going to come home in 16th. We got Huey and Fluxy at the back. It looks like Fluxy will get in front of Huey just in terms of a time penalty, and then obviously Kebab and Lemon being the DRFs, but that will bring us to a halt and that will finish off your race. So some great racing there from Zakov, and again I think Aston Martin, they've worked really well today and given themselves a chance.
Yeah, we got to talk about Dutch. He absolutely sacrificed that and put himself in a hard position, and then fought his way back up to P8, because I think he was battling for P10, got into the points, and then he managed to find 2 more positions there. So an unreal drive from him. The Aston Martin team will be smiling tonight. I'm sure Reblitz in the chat there is sitting on his chair with a really big smile, because that was unreal from him. So they're going to be stoked with that.
Yeah, that's it. If we stick around for a little bit longer, we will have the interviews. We'll look to get Zakov in. We'll look to get Eckham in. And I think we'll actually, I would really like to grab Tazza and Dutchy in a call together. I think we're going to see a lot of love from Tazza coming Dutchy's way. So do stick around for that. But yeah, to round it out, Zakov with the win, Tazza in second, Eckham in third after winning the sprint race. A great race from Eckham today. Gaz, Vlad, Apex, Dutchy, Lights and Sneaky are your points finishers. We'll quickly just jump across to the incidents. But the bottom 10, we have Tigger, Caddo, Farmer Sam, Spliff, Aziko, Zay, Fluxy, Huey, Kebab, and Lemon rounding out your race. So we'll be back in just a minute with the interviews. All right, guys, so we are back. We're looking to grab our...
Hello. He's here with us.
Oh, there you go. Zakov, congratulations, another win, mate.
Cheers, boys.
A dominant performance this year for you, obviously being one of the faster racers in Australia. It's good to see that some of the guys are starting to test you a little bit. They're closing the gap.
Yeah, fucking oath.
Eckham, that sprint race that you had with Eckham, he managed to park the car right in front of you and wouldn't give any positions away early in that sprint race, and then took it to you in the first section of that race.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously really hard to overtake in the wet, especially around Japan. So, yeah, the spin was my fault. I mean, it was pretty aggressive, but yeah, wet's pretty hard. Props to the guys for keeping it fairly clean. There are a few spinners, but nothing too major. And then the race, I felt like I was confident in my starts, but he just has insane starts. So I just kind of used my battery because I knew I had the pace over him. So I dumped my battery, got past him, and yeah, in pretty stylish fashion, I must say.
Yeah, it was good.
Sector 1.
Zakov, so we spoke about you on stream tonight. We know that you're an absolute superstar when it comes to sim racing. For the guys that are maybe in my division or really anyone that watches you race on these Thursday nights, how do you go about staying consistent in a race? You barely make any mistakes. You barely have any crashes. I mean, that spin in the wet was more down to the wet conditions and maybe being a little bit aggressive, but as you said, your consistency overall, I mean, you don't come to be leading championships and winning titles all the time from spinning all the time. How do you go about keeping everything in check and staying calm through maybe those situations where you've got to push for Eckham, or how do you go about that?
I mean, you just got to keep calm. Like, everything that gets thrown at you, you stay calm and you get around it. You push to your ability. I mean, you just got to take minimal risks, not run too wide, not take a corner too fast and all that sort of stuff. And it might sound really cliche, but you just got to keep at it and keep your cool. It's all mindset, really.
Yeah, no, for sure. And those moments where you know you've got to go for it, or you know you have to push, how are you calculating those moves? Say that move you did at that last chicane after 130R, I mean, how do you calculate that in your head to go?
Well, first of all, you need to sit behind them for a couple laps and really just analyze where they're slow and where they're not.
Yep.
And he wasn't that quick out of, or the slipstream was crazy down the back straight, and then 130R. So yeah, I took the move there, and then I have high downforce, so I got the run out of the last few corners for the straight. So yeah, it's pretty much just analysing and figuring out where they're slow and fast. Yeah,
and not to give away too many of your trade secrets, Zakov, but your prep for Circuit of the Americas and Mexico, what do you sort of run through to get everything cranking? Are you sort of someone that can just pick up the steering wheel and come into a race with
No, you got to put in the hours. Yeah. I mean, I tomorrow afternoon, as soon as I get home from school, I'm on TT.
Yeah.
I'm doing the laps. So, yeah, you got to put in the time and practice and try the setups and try everything, do race running, all that sort of stuff. So it doesn't just come naturally.
Yeah. Well, as they say, hard work beats raw talent, but if you've got both, then you'll be like Zakov, they say. So well done tonight, mate. Super drive. And we look forward to seeing you make a few more passes like that one you did tonight in the US and in Mexico. So awesome stuff, man. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, cheers, boys. Thanks for the casting.
No worries, mate. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Yep, you too, boys. Yep.
All right. Well, we'll grab the two Aston Martin blokes here. So we'll grab Dodge and we'll grab Tazza.
Where's Tazza going? I've got him here.
Hopefully they're ready to go. So we got Tazza and Dodge with us here. Tazza, again, back into the points this week after a little bit of disappointing last week. P2, great race from yourself. How did you find this one, mate?
I won last week.
Sorry, you won last week. My bad. It was the week before. My bad.
Yeah, it was a good race. I mean, my pace on the hards felt so good. I did so much practice. Just like I always lose time on the hards to the fast guys. Just struggling to find the grip really early. So that's something I've been working on, and just finding the limit of the car, sort of when the hards are straight out of the box, and that really worked for me. I was able to stick with that front pack. Zakov got ahead a bit. Gares made a few mistakes, which cost us a little bit of time, but all in all, it was all good. And then, I pulled that gap from Zakov after the pits from 6 and a bit to 4, and just stayed there. So I think the tyre deg of the mediums kicked in, and his hards got better and better. So I was happy to keep it at 4 seconds. I think I could have been a bit closer if I just cleared the pack a bit earlier, but I ran around in the sprint with half a wing, so that was interesting.
Yeah, well, the one thing that we want to ask you about is obviously in that race you were a fair bit behind with Zakov getting a very early leave and yourself having to kind of push through. Was it a plan for Dodge to stay at that extra lap to try and keep him behind and pull a Alonso there just to defend him a little bit and try and make up some time for you? If so, that was a great strategy and a great teammate from Dodge there to pull that one off if it was on the cards.
Okay, well, I think you drag Dodge, you mean Dutchy.
Oh, sorry.
So you might want to drag Dutchy in here.
Sorry,
because you've got Dodge. Dutchy kind of just went long on his own accord. We didn't really play it to that card at all, but he wanted to go long for an extra lap, and then Zakov was right there and closed the gap, so it slowed him down a little bit, and that helped me out. So all in all, it was kind of a good strat, not an intentional strat, but it helped me a little bit for sure, I'd say.
You are very welcome, sir.
I was going to say, Dutchy, you should be coming in here banging the wall saying that was 100% planned and you are the most selfless driver in the ARL, but regardless, it came off that way and you managed to get yourself back into P8. How was the race for you?
It was good. It was good. I didn't have the pace of the front guys because they were rapid. I have to admit, they were bloody insane. But yeah, I don't know what I was struggling with. I think it was just traction out of corners, but P8 I'm still happy with, so... Yeah.
No, it was you guys are another massive points haul for the Astons with the P8 and the P2. That makes you guys sitting pretty. Do you like in your team radios? Are you like Tazzy? You said you didn't really plan that, but are you thinking about that stuff during the race? He's like, oh, can you help me out here, or do you just go along with your own races? How did that sort of come about?
I think we know that both of us just want to have the better race, and if one of us is struggling with a race and one of us is in a better position, we try to help each other out as best as we can, especially on overtakes and stuff like that. Always going to make sure we help each other rather than the person that we're fighting. So
it's been really good to watch the teamwork here, and I think a lot of people could probably take some notes from it. That not everything, even if you are having not a bad race, but not quite on top of it as your teammate is. There's always things you can do in the race to kind of help them out. So it's a credit to the teamwork that you guys are showing. And obviously, if you continue to keep these good results coming, you could end up finishing in P1 if Zakov has a bad week. So again, congratulations to both of you. Great teamwork from Dutchy's point of view, and Aston Martin so far being the team of the season to kind of put it together, especially in this elite division. So well done, guys.
Appreciate it, boys.
Awesome, boys. Well done.
All right. Well,
Thanks, guys.
We'll let them enjoy their night, and I think we'll just bring the last guy in here. We'll go and bring
Eckham?
Yeah, let's bring Eckham in. We'll bring in our third place. So we do have Eckham here. Eckham, congratulations tonight, mate. You had an absolute stellar night, winning the sprint race, holding off Zakov in wet conditions, and then coming home third in the actual race itself. Mate, congratulations. That's been an absolute terrific night for you, especially with the pace that was it Gares and Crush had behind you. So congratulations, mate.
Thank you. It was very hard holding up Crush and Gares because they had insane pace and they were gaining ERS faster than me, so it was hard to hold them off in the straights. Yeah.
No, it was super drive. How did you go about that race? Were you just wanting to stay on the back of Zakov as long as you can, or were you just willing to race your own race tonight?
So, in the sprint, I just wanted to get the win. I thought the win was doable. I did kill Zakov, but I apologize and it's fine. And then for the actual race, my goal was to hold Zakov for as long as possible, because I'm pretty sure he has worse tyre than me. So by the time he hopefully passed me, his tyres would be like a lot more worn out. So I'd be able to keep in his DRS and maybe like keeping them for the race. Maybe, I don't know, probably not. Yeah. Just a plan though.
How difficult did you find it in the wet? Obviously, it looked like you had your starts to the race both in the wet and in the dry were fantastic, but it just seemed like you had the extra pace on the wets today. Is that something that you practice a lot, or is it just something that comes naturally? Because you just seem to be kind of an echelon above the rest with yourself and Zakov with that wet tyre. It just looked like you were just doing it easy at the front.
Oh, so like earlier during the week, I did a league race and it was at Japan. It was wet. And I made a big mistake with the setup. I was like very aggressive wings and I learned my mistake, like I learned my lesson. I learned that you gotta run like wings, a higher rear wing, so you can like put down traction. So like I used that to make a good setup for the wet and I didn't struggle that much. So it was cool.
So did that mean that the lobby restart worked into your favour in terms of being able to change your setup for the dry?
So I use lower wings in the wet than I did in the dry because you can only adjust the front wing from sprint to race. So I decided to like run a higher rear wing so I could go passive in the wet. So I could like change my front wing to make my setup aggressive, if you get what I'm saying.
Yep. Oh, that's good because a lot of the guys that are lower in the divisions, obviously with the novice and prodigy and the academy guys, this is things, tips and tricks that they can take from the very best of our leagues and kind of spread some knowledge around and allow those guys to come in and do whatever. So again, great race from you tonight, mate. Congratulations on the sprint race win and for getting on the podium and holding off the guys from behind you in the race. So congratulations tonight, mate.
Thank you. Shout out kebabism, by the way. Okay. Bye-bye. Can you drag me back?
Yeah, no worries.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap us up tonight. Obviously, Zakov winning, Tazza coming home in second, and Ekam coming home in third. It has been a absolutely sensational race week. We do love Japan. It brings out the very best in the racing. Obviously, a track that you really need to be following on. You need to be making sure that you get your lines right, especially with wet conditions and whatnot. So it has been an absolute fantastic week of racing. To kind of sum it up, we have the Circuit of the Americas next week, something that, again, we're going to have another fast circuit followed by Mexico the week after, so I really am looking forward to that. Is there anything I've missed in that, Snoop?
Nah, you've summed it up pretty well, mate. We move on to the Season 5 North American Farewell Tour for this season. Circuit of Americas and Mexico, two great tracks. I'm not sure what everyone else's opinions are, but I absolutely love those two tracks, especially in Mexico. So, I think we're in for an absolute smashing end to this season. And we really are going to see those battles. Now that we're in the pointy end, there's a few championship battles in each division that are going to start to heat up pretty quickly now that people need to get these points to win their division. So I'm looking forward to it, mate. It's going to be epic.
Yeah, that's it. All right, well, that does us for tonight. Again, this is Thursday night of Aussie Racing League, which is the elite division. Looking forward to next week. Tune in Monday for the Academy, where we will be at the Circuit of Americas. Looking forward to seeing when we do have the Friday night. Is that the F2?
Yeah, the F2 tomorrow night. HK, the beautiful HK is our caster for tomorrow night, I believe. So tune in for that. That'll be a belter. It's a whole different kettle of fish with the F2. It's way different cars to drive, so a lot closer with the racing. So I reckon it's going to be a good series to keep your eye on as well.
That's it. All right. Well, thank you very much for tuning in. We do appreciate you and love every single one of you. So continue to tune in and be ready and back for us on Monday night for the Academy division, where we will be at the Circuit of Americas. I've been your host, Man of Tim. Thank you very much, and I'll leave the last word to Snoop.
Snoop Loop here, signing off. We'll see you on that North American Farewell Tour. I'm looking forward to it. See you guys.
Thanks, guys.